Am I the asshole? For telling my sister her childhood is the reason she's not always included in things. I'm 18F. My older sister is 26. We are our half-sisters, as we share the same dad. We are the only kids to our dad. Our dad and her mom were once married. I wasn't born obviously, and when they divorced my sister lived with her mom 99 of the time. She grew up 4 hours away from us. I only saw her a week out of the year growing up. She would attend some holidays with our dad's side of the family. Once she graduated high school, 9 years ago, she lived with our dad and I was seeing her all the time. That's when we built our relationship. My mom and dad live in the same city, so I've always lived 50-50 with my parents. So we have an aunt and uncle on our side that I basically grew up with. Ever since I was 6 I've been staying summers with them out of state up until this year. They also have a son I'm 2 years apart from. They tried to have my sister for summers when she was a child, but because of whatever she never got to. The past 9 years my sister is finally around enough, just like I've been my whole life. I graduated this year and had a party our dad's side attended. My uncle, our dad's brother, booked a trip for us to go to Hawaii. His family and me. And I didn't know, my sister didn't know. I didn't want to bring it up at all. When our cousin brought it up at my party, my sister asked out loud, "You guys are going to Hawaii?" And it became awkward as hell. Our uncle and aunt kinda rushed in a room and I just quickly said yeah and walked away from the topic. I saw my aunt take her in a room and talk to her. I didn't know what they talked about, nor did I ask until my sister reached out to me yesterday. Basically she said she's had time to think about that day and said our aunt told her that she's an afterthought because they didn't get to build a relationship with her when she was young. And because of lost time things are kinda the way they are. My sister said to our aunt that since she's been around the family more now, it's ridiculous she excluded over such a thing she had no control over. She told me that she doesn't appreciate them playing favorites and excluding her and making excuses for it. Also that she didn't care about not going to Hawaii, it's the point. When they claim they wish they were closer to her. She said that they are potentially putting a wedge between us by doing things like this, and that as her sister, I should know how she feels. I told her this had nothing to do with me, and that our aunt has a point with her childhood being the biggest reason things are the way they are. I also told her she was wrong for thinking our aunt was playing favoritism. She told me it's a shame I don't see an issue with this, and that she looks at me different for siding with my aunt. Which I'm not even doing. She said she clearly can't talk to me about how she feels and it's crazy how I'm siding with someone that really hurt her. Just drama. Am I the asshole? You're the asshole. In fact, the only person who isn't an A here is your sister. You're one for undermining her feelings. That's a shitty thing to do. Your aunt and uncle are one for holding her childhood against her. She had no control over where she spent her time, but she's the one getting blamed and being told she's an afterthought. What the actual fuck? Your dad is the biggest star. He failed her. He failed to be a father to her. You can't be any sort of decent parent if you only see your kid one of the time. You're the asshole for brushing it off like it's nothing. Everyone in your family other than the sister are assholes. She's equally as much family as you are. You're the asshole. Part of calling her sister is having her back and making sure she's included. Aunt and uncle are for living in the past. Dad wins TA of the Year award for letting this happen. You're the asshole. Her childhood isn't her fault and it's cruel to blame her for her family favoring you and ignoring her. You are the golden child and you are getting things she never got, and that is objectively unfair. Why can't you at minimum acknowledge that? You're the asshole so your uncles from your dad's side, who is also her fucking dad, is excluding her? And you can't see how fucking terrible that is? Horrible sister. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. From what you've written, your sister advocated for herself in a very clear way to your aunt. Impressive. Your sister then shared this with you, dismissed her. I told her this had nothing to do with me, and that our aunt has a point with her childhood being the biggest reason things are the way they are. I also told her she was wrong for thinking our aunt was playing favoritism. This is such our behavior. You are taking your aunt's side. Your sister is absolutely correct. Someone told your sister to her face she's nothing but an afterthought for things that were outside her control when she was a child, and you said yep, that's true. You're the asshole. Wow. Yeah, you're the asshole. Everyone except your sister is an actually. As soon as your sister was old enough, she made an effort to get to know your dad's side of the family. She's spent the last 9 years doing that, and not only is she still excluded, but you dismiss her feelings as drama. At this point, I genuinely hope she walks away from you and your dad's side of the family. You all sound like terrible people and she'd be better off without you. You're the asshole. Why are you even on here? You don't even sound like you want a relationship with your sister, so why don't you and your family tell her that, so she can get over y'all and move on with her life? Your uncle and aunt are and you very inconsiderate of your sister's feelings. You're the asshole. She had zero control over where she lived growing up. You said you lived 4 hours away from her and maybe saw her once a year because she lived with her mom, which again was not her control. You and your dad's family sound bitter for whatever reason toward your sister for reasons that she couldn't control or choose. Maybe when you're older you'll see where her point is, because right now you aren't putting yourself in her shoes and just labeling her as drama. You're 18 years old, you know what you're doing. You're the asshole. You're the asshole. In so many spoiled, entitled this over and over again, princess. Your sister was left family's fault. She is still left family's fault. They make family's fault. You treat her like fault. You have the fucking nerve to call her the drama? WTF. Your aunt and uncle are horrible people and you are a horrible sister. I hope she gets therapy and writes you all off. She will be much better off with strangers who love her than with her phony-ass, fake, two-faced, miserable excuse for a blood family. Sounds to me like they booked it for her graduation. While I can't call you TA because you are in the middle of something that adults around you should be handling, your sister is right when she says, she's been around the family more now. It's ridiculous she excluded over such a thing she had no control over. That's true. As to Hawaii, if your aunt and uncle are taking their kids and only you, that's fair for a graduation present. But otherwise, your sister is your father's daughter, as much as you are, and should be included in all of her father's family events as much as you are. I understand your sister feeling left out. No one should have to feel like an afterthought. They missed her childhood, but she has been around for 9 years, I believe you said. Now, the trip is another issue. That is your gift from your aunt and uncle. Graduation gift. To me, your sister should not have anticipated being treated to your graduation gift. If they were taking you out to a local restaurant for dinner, then yes, she should have been invited. But there is a big difference between a dinner and a trip to Hawaii. If your father wants her to go on the trip, he should pay for her. She's right. She had no control over her childhood, and it's extremely unfair how she's being treated. Of course, you wouldn't see what's wrong with it because you're getting special treatment. You're the asshole, and so is your aunt and uncle. Edit. Your father is also an A for allowing this to happen. You're the asshole for dismissing her feelings. It's been 9 years since she was able to try and integrate into your lives. You're lying to yourself if you think your aunt and uncles don't play favorites by excluding her. This is just another instance of her being excluded by your extended family, but this time, it is a bigger thing she's being excluded from, and she couldn't hold it anymore. Think about it, 9 years since she was more involved in your lives, and she's still treated by them like more like an acquaintance, and not like your sister. Info. Who is going to Hawaii? Many of the comments make it seem like some giant Home Alone trip where your entire extended family are going but sister isn't invited. The way I read it, seems like it is an uncle, aunt and their children op. If that is the case, OP is basically being invited along with their nuclear family vacation.